Hey guys, welcome to video number 3 of the CKA series. This video is called Kubernetes Components. We are going to learn about Kubernetes components in this video. Before we go any further, let's take a moment to look at kubernetes.io. I like to think of it as the official admin guide of Kubernetes. This is the one resource you will have full access to during the exam, and you can rely on it to solve questions on the spot. So instead of memorizing the commands, focus on building a strong understanding of Kubernetes fundamentals, like what each component does, how to use it, how to configure it, and more importantly, how to quickly navigate through this site to find answers during the exam or in real production scenarios. In this video, we will explore the components of the Kubernetes cluster. Let's take some time to read through them on kubernetes.io. This page here provides a high-level overview of the essential components that make up a Kubernetes cluster. As you can see right here, Kubernetes consists of two important things. First is your control plane, and the second is a node. And all the essential components of a Kubernetes cluster are divided between the two. Control plane is where all the decisions are made, and nodes are where your workloads will be scheduled or run. Let's talk about Kubernetes control plane components. You have 4 of those: Kubernetes API server, etcd, kube scheduler, and kube controller manager. What are these? Well, kube API server is the core component of your server that exposes the Kubernetes HTTP API, which what it means is it's just a doorway to your Kubernetes cluster. etcd, consistent and highly available key value store for all API server data. It's like a database that holds every information about your Kubernetes cluster. Kube scheduler looks for pods which are not yet bound to a node and assigns those pods to a suitable node. Kube controller manager runs controllers to implement Kubernetes API behavior. Now let's look at node components: kubelet, kubeproxy, and container runtime. Kubelet, it ensures that the pods are running, including their containers. Kubeproxy maintains network rules on nodes to implement services. Container runtime, software responsible for running the containers. If you have worked with Kubernetes before, you might already be familiar with these concepts. But if you are new, then don't worry. As promised, we are going to look at Kubernetes in a fresh and easy to understand way. Have you ever noticed the symbol of Kubernetes? Yes. It's the ship's steering wheel. It is not by accident, but by design. Because designers saw that Kubernetes behaves a lot like massive global shipping port. Containers don't just sit idle. They move, they get assigned, balanced, and routed. Just like cargo across ships in a busy harbor. Once you see it this way, Kubernetes stops being complex and starts making perfect sense. Imagine a massive shipping port. Ships come and go. Containers are constantly being loaded and moved and managed. This entire port is your Kubernetes cluster. The port and the ships together. At the heart of the port is the control center. Let's walk through it and take a closer look at the heart of the cluster. The port has 4 important offices: the communication center, the logbook keeper, the doc planner, and the operations team. Let's talk about the communication center. Every message, every request, every command goes through one place, the communication center. Want to deploy something? Scale something? Check status. You don't directly talk to the ships. You talk to this center. That's the Kube API server, the front door of Kubernetes. Then comes the logbook keeper. Right next to the communication center sits someone quietly powerful. The logbook keeper. Inside this logbook is everything. What you should be running, where it should be running, What the system look like? This is HCD, the source of truth. If this logbook is lost, the entire port loses its memory. Then comes the dock planner. Now imagine a new container arrives. It needs a place to run. Who decides? The dock planner. They scan the whole port. They find out which ship has space, which ship is healthy. Any special requirement like package's destination, duplicate package can be placed on the same ship, etc., etc. And then they decide this container goes to ship A. But here's the twist. They don't move anything. They only decide. That's the Cube scheduler. Then comes the operations team. Now zoom out a little. Across the port, zoom out a little. Across the port, there's a team constantly watching. If something breaks, they fix it. If something is missing, they recreate it. If there are too many, they scale it down. They don't wait. They continuously compare the reality with the original plan and make adjustments. That's the Cube controller manager. Now let's step onto the ships. Each ship is a worker node, and every ship runs its own operations with the help of the following: the captain, the engine room and the crane, and the signboards. Let's look at who, what they are, and why they are important. On every ship, there's a captain. This captain receives instructions from the port, that is the communication center, aka Cube API server. He ensures that the containers are running, restarts them if they fail, perform health checks on the ship and the container it runs, reports back the health status. But here's the key. The captain does not decide what to run. He only executes. So Docker planner decides, captain executes. Cube scheduler decides, kubelet executes. Then comes the ship's engine and the crane. Now, how do containers actually run? The captain uses a crane and uses it for pulling the container images, starting the containers, and stopping them whenever needed. Behind the scenes, the engine room powers it all. This is your container runtime, like Containerd or CRI-O. This is where containers become real. Now imagine you are trying to send a message to a container. Why? Because containers in Kubernetes are not ideal sitting boxes like the containers on the ship. They host live applications like a web server or a backend database. So sometimes the users are trying to connect to the web server, or many a times front-end web server would try to connect to its database container in the backend. And those containers could be anywhere in the cluster, on any worker node, or on any ship. So how do you know where it is? Well, you don't. Instead, you follow signboards like service A, this direction, container B, that ship. Something like this picture. These signs don't move the traffic. They only tell the traffic where to go. This is Kube Proxy or CNI networking. It sets routing rules, keeps them updated because changes happen. Containers keep moving, getting destroyed, or recreated. These changes about the container's precise locations are updated on all signboards in real time. It exists on every node, so no matter where traffic enters, it always finds the right direction. Let's put it all together. Let's watch the port come alive step by step. So, a request arrives at the port and immediately enters the communication center, that is the API server. From there, the request is recorded in the logbook, HCD, where the desired state of the system is stored. Now the system knows a new container needs to run. That's where the dock planner, the scheduler, steps in. It scans all the available ships and selects the best one possible. Once the decision is made, the instruction is sent to the ship's captain, the kubelet. The captain gets to work immediately. Using the ship's crane and engine room, the container runtime, the container is pulled, loaded, and brought to life on that ship. Now that the container is running, it needs to be reachable. So across every ship, there are signboards, that is the Cube Proxy. It ensures that any incoming request knows exactly where to go. And all this time in the background, the operations team, the Cube controller managers are constantly watching, comparing what's happening with what should be happening. If anything drifts, they quietly step in, correct it, and bring the system back in line. Now here's something interesting. A cluster is like a complete shipping port, the port itself and the ships that carry the containers. Now normally you would expect multiple ships moving cargo, but even if there are no other ships, Kubernetes still treats the port as a full cluster because the single port is fully capable of doing everything on its own. It already has the control plane components which are used for making decisions in a Kubernetes cluster, but it also has the worker node components which actually do the work. So in that case, the port and the ship become one and the same, handling both planning and execution together. And just like that, the port keeps running smooth, balanced, and fully automated.